I have to show you my house, the paint my house. I'll show it to you.
Please.
Everybody but Shelly. Shelly don't want to see it.
Would you let them go ahead and paint the whole thing?
Huh? I'm letting them paint they're painting the garage. They painted the garage, mudroom, breakfast room, kitchen, and den, and foyer. So I'm kind of excited about improving the finishing because they got my house looking all messed up.
What color is it?
Furniture all over every place.
Sunshine, remember?
Well, no, that's the mudroom and the
The workout room.
yeah, what you call it's going to be in
Remember?
eggshell blue.
I was about to say, I thought it was blue and white.
Yeah, something like that.
Paint his house.
Did you say a mud room? Yeah.
Yeah.
Colors.
Mudroom's where you
Yeah.
have a deep well sink and your clothes washing stuff and a bathroom, a little half bathroom.
Got you.
Take the boots off and stuff. Dang old farm.
You say this was 12-1 or 12-2?
It's 13-4. 13-4, I think. See, they did a little bit of changing with the book with this edition, and I think this is the old edition homework, but it doesn't matter, it's still the same thing. Okay, now I'm going to do this on the Excel spreadsheet. That does not mean that you have to learn the Excel spreadsheet. The only reason I'm doing it on the Excel spreadsheet is so it'll be all the same size lettering and it'll be vertical and horizontal so you can see it. That's the only reason I'm doing it.
Better learn to sell when I'm taking computer class.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
And you're not going to avoid using Excel in the real world. Somewhere you're going to use it. If you're dealing with computers, you're going to use it. So I'm not telling you have to do it, okay?
I made a 98 on my Excel file.
Good.
Excel, know how to use it like a boss.
So, pull up Excel. In some of these tables, you can actually copy and paste, and it'll paste it into Excel for you. But this one doesn't have that. What the?
April Fools.
Everything on. What's wrong with this thing? My stomach is hurt. I don't feel like this.
Yesterday and I laid in it and I got my butt.
Okay, Shelley, give me the numbers.
9, 9, 10, 11, 13, 13, 13, 14, and 25.
All right, all these numbers, each one of them is called X. Okay? The first X is 9, the second X is 9. So X of 1 is 9, X of 2 is 9. And the reason that's important is because the summation of X is equal to N. Write that down. What does summation look like? Summation looks like that big old E that's turned around right there. Well, you can't see it. Hold on. That big E right here. It's called summation.
You said the summation is what?
Summation of X is equal to n. Now that's very important because if you take this class or any other class with probability and statistics, they're going to have that a lot, and they're also going to rely on you to know that, or not rely on it, expect for you to know that in other formulas. So it's one of those things that you pretty much have to know, because n is in a lot of formulas. So down here I'm going to say n is equal to, and we're going to add all those up. So I hit summation and click on that and add all those up. And that is n. n is equal to 117. Now, to find the mean is called several things. The mean is called mean. It's called, that's not supposed to be there. It's not supposed to be like that. So back down to 10. And take that off. It's also called, what else? The average, Hubert. That's right, class.
You said
I
that.
said that.
Charles said,
You didn't say that. I didn't hear you. You might have did this. You might have did that.
Everybody else heard it.
Over there.
I said average.
oh, yeah.
I'll start talking.
Hey, your average didn't.
All right, average. And it's also called X bar.
Exploits.
X bar.
I said X bar. What? Huh? Who's on first? All right, mean, average, and X bar. Now, of course, X bar is not spelled X bar like that. It's an X with a bar over the top of it. Okay? So it's aggravating to do it on here, so I just call it X bar. And that's all the average. All three of those are the same thing. If I need to figure the average, it's the summation of X over N. Okay? I'm sorry. That's not N, that's the summation of X, sorry. Summation of X. Summation of X. And this is N. N is how many are in the group. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9? So up here I'm going to put N is equal to 9.
Hey, gotta get you some Pepto or something.
Doesn't help, nothing helps. I've done been to 3 doctors. Usually does it in the morning when I wake up.
Do you have stomach ulcers?
They have checked, listen, they have checked me. They have done ultrasounds, they have done x-rays, they have done everything. Can't figure out what's wrong.
Must be nerves.
That's what they say. So they give me a bunch of drugs and I don't take them.
Oh, well, they'll never get better
the drugs just make it worse.
Yeah. Drugs just dead the pain. It still
I take
hurts.
drugs every morning, and if I didn't, I'd probably...
And that's what's wrong with you. That explains it. All right. So here we go. Put equals right here.
Every
I
morning.
take drugs every morning, so that explains it.
Come on. Y'all wouldn't like me if I didn't.
Okay, summation of X is 117 divided by 9. And there's our mean.
What is it? I can't say.
13.
Didn't you just sound like a really simple thing, like add them all up, divide by
Yes,
$1,000?
you can.
I mean,
That's what I just said, summation of
that
X over
took
N.
10 freaking minutes.
There's 2 ways to learn it. You can learn it as, mathematical, summation of X over N, or you can learn it layman's terms, add them all up, divide by the number. However you want to learn it. All right? What about the median? Well, let me ask you a question. When you think of median, when you hear the word median, what do you think of?
Middle.
Middle.
I think of that thing, concrete thing in the road.
Oh, I went.
That's in the middle too.
That's what I'm trying to get to. If y'all would help me out.
I just did.
No, you cut out the concrete part and went straight to the middle.
Sure did.
Okay.
That's all it
I
matters.
ran over
Keep
one
it
of those
simple.
things in my car, and I was.
You know what? You know what I'm gonna do?
What?
I'm gonna get
Cancel
Mohammed
class.
Gabadi to come in here for a week.
Who?
Mohammed
You don't-
Gabadi to come in here for a week.
What's he
What
gonna
do you believe in?
He makes you appreciate me.
Oh,
I have him on mine.
we do appreciate you.
No, you don't.
And he'll say, you know that girl with all the tattoos? I don't like her.
No, he would just call security on me.
For what?
Anything.
Because I said it's the medium?
Anything.
No, the
Middle.
medium? The middle?
You don't know what you say because you're on drugs. All right.
Every morning.
I'm taking drugs every morning. Now, I'm going to show you something. Here's a rule that you need to write down. When you're calculating the median.
Mm-hmm.
You just line them all up and mark them up.
No, that's not it.
That's so it.
Yeah, that's layman's terms. That's what me and you do. Rocket science.
Oh, and if
over here,
there's-
he's got some other one.
And if there's 2 in the middle, you add those 2 up and divide by how many there
Y'all
are.
don't teach the class.
Uh-uh.
Can I be in charge for a while?
You sure can.
All right. If n is equal to
What's the median?
an odd number, you just count to the middle. And that's your median. So when you have 9, which is odd, you count 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the 5th number is your median. So when n is odd, it's real easy. But when
Actually,
n is even,
that's very confusing because that's not the middle. Because then you have a 4 and a 5. 4
Let's
numbers.
do one odd.
5 numbers.
how many are there?
There's 9.
There's 9.
There's 9.
So you count down to 4,
Count
and the
to
next
2.
number is the middle.
But the middle of 10 is 5.
Well,
Not
that's odd. That's not odd. When n is even,
just say mark off one on each.
you have to find the middle 2, the average of the middle 2. So middle 2, middle 1, plus middle 2 divided by 2. Okay? So you find your 2 middle numbers, add them together, and divide by 2. So in that case, let's just put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So n is equal to 9. You got 9 numbers. And the only thing you do is you count down. 1, 2, 3, 4. And there's your... Because how many do you have on the top? And how many you got on the bottom?
4.
So that's the middle. So that's the... And everything is based on center with statistics. Everything. Everything is based on the middle, the range. I mean the mid-range, the middle, the midpoint, or the median, or the average. All right? So if you have those same numbers, and you add one more to it, then you have to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and these two right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is your middle right here. This is your median, but you have to calculate it. And that is the first one plus the second one, and it doesn't matter which order because it's what? Adding, so it doesn't matter. And you divide it by 2. And that will give you the number that's right here. And that is your median. Because how many you have up top? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So what you're doing is you're calculating a new number that represents the middle of the group. And you got 5 up and 5 down. Okay? So that's a little note about the median. Mode. Mode is real easy because it represents the what?
Most
The one
common.
that shows up
The most.
the most. It's supposed to be mode here.
You wrote it again.
Most equals most.
Oh, when I make a mistake, you can talk up, all right? But when I ask you a question, it's,
D,
Oh, there we go.
What was the median?
13.
13. Oh.
You're still in the middle.
I'm Huber. Most means mode. All right, which one shows up the most in this one?
13.
13. So in this one, the answer is 13.
And you
But
have multiple modes.
you can have more than one mode. Of all the things that we have to calculate, this is probably the easiest, but it's the most worthless. We don't even use it. But you need to know what it is for other applications. So if you have one mode, that's fine, you just list it. One mode is called, it's just called one mode, monomode, whatever, but nobody ever uses that word. Two modes is called bimodal. And then three modes is tri. And then of course after is polymodal. Now the only thing I need to tell you about mode is one, it's the only one that is observed. It's observed, you do not calculate it. And it's not really, it's not important. And do not use 0 when you don't have a mode. Because you got some uptight essay instructors that will mark it wrong. Even though they know you mean there's no mode,
Say no mode.
they'll say, oh, well, 0 is not even in the list.
Say no mode.
Say no mode, there ain't one, there nairn, whatever. Write it in words, okay? Because I don't want you to get a problem wrong because of some essay. Okay? I'm not really going to spend a lot of time on that because it's just so long as you can find it, I'm happy with it. Range. Real simple, highest minus the what? It's nice to know it, but it's not detrimental to you passing this class. I mean, you just take the highest minus the lowest. You don't have any application as far as other things. It's just a range. Mid-range. This is just like the midpoint. Now this is important. This is just as important as the median, the mean and the standard deviation. The mid-range is basically the midpoint. Or it is the middle pertaining to the range, not the other numbers. In other words, if you want to make a number line out of your data, you're going to use the range and you're going to use the mid-range. You're not going to use all the numbers added up, and you're not going to use the median because that takes into account all the numbers. But if you're setting up like as far as a start and a finish line or a number line, then you want to use the range and the mid-range. Let me give you an example. What's our highest number on this set of data?
25.
So it'd be 25 minus, what's the,
9.
and that's equal to, y'all gonna have to help me today. Now the 16 doesn't help us, okay? But I'm gonna set up a number line, and this is helpful when we do our box plots. The bottom is 9, and the top is what? 25. So that's how you use your highest and your lowest. The mid-range, 25 plus 9 is what?
31.
Divided by 2 is So the middle is 17, and you set up your number line doing this. So what's 17 plus 9? What's so funny?
Nothing.
What'd she say?
I thought it was 16.
17 plus 9 is
I don't know.
26, right?
Yes.
It's 26, 13. 17 plus 25, dang old 33, 43. Half of 43 is 20, I don't know. 22.5,
21.5.
thank
I bet.
you. 22.
I'll say that.
And see, you can keep on going, and eventually you'll have little bitty, this is called interpolation. Not interpretation, interpolation.
That sounds stupid.
Interpolation is used in engineering, it's also used in, oops,
I don't say you
got
got
an R there, interpolation.
So the mid-range was 17.
Yeah, and then you just take the mid-range of the mid-range of the mid-range, and you keep finding the middle. That's what interpolation is. You keep finding the middle of the middle of the middle of the middle. And eventually you'll have hash marks. As far, how can you keep on going? You keep on going and keep on going. In other words, 20, let's do an easy one. What's 9 plus 13? 21, right? 22, half of 22 is 11. 13 plus 17 is dang old 30, half of 13 is. And you'll eventually get it down to where you can start seeing the pattern if you do it. And this helps with big numbers, it helps with decimals, fractions, whatever. It's just called interpolation, finding the middle of the middle of the middle of the middle. 17 plus 22 is 39, isn't it? And half of 39 is 18.5 or something like that, 19. And 22 plus 20 is 47. Half of 47 is 23.5, which is 24 or something. 23, somewhere in there. Anyway, and when we do the box plot, this is the first thing that you do when you do the box plot. You make a number line, and then we put the box somewhere up here. Line up with this and this. Okay?
Okay, so just to make sure that I got this right, to get the mid-range, you're gonna subtract the highest number.
Now this is the range, right here. We didn't even use this. This is just, I'm just showing you how to get the range, okay, right here.
Okay, so to, okay.
Okay.
So to get,
This represents finding the mid-range, okay? I put my lowest number here,
You're not in your range.
because we read left to what?
right,
Okay, and the highest number there.
okay.
And then you find the mid-range, which is gonna be, this was our first mid-range, wasn't it, 17?
17.
All right, that's our first mid-range.
So you add those two together and then divide by 2, and
Mhm.
that's mid-range. You don't have to do it again?
Yeah, you do it many times as you want to,
Okay,
because you're making a graduated numbering system on this number line so you can put your box plot later on. Just keep doing it. Okay, look, let me show you something. I can't think, it's like thinking with a toothache. All right, let me ask you a question. How many numbers you got there?
3.
3. So you're going to use these two numbers to find this one,
Okay,
and you're going to use these two numbers to find this one, and you just keep on going with that mentality.
okay.
So 9 plus 17 is 23. Half of 23 is 12. I'm just going to say 12. I'm not going to worry about trying to think. Okay. 25 plus 17, I said that was 43, 42, 21. Now you've got these two numbers, find the mid-range. These two numbers, find the
Yeah.
mid-range. Mid-range of the mid-range of the mid-range. It's called interpolation.
Okay.
Interpolation is used in engineering You know what that's called?
Looks like a map.
Contour lines. This can be the top of the hill or the bottom of the hill. elevation is 428 feet above sea level. If this is 426, and this is 424, and this is 422, what is this? Is it a valley or is it a hilltop? Because this is higher than this one. And if you want to know the linear footage between here and here, you can actually calculate it by interpolation. That's where interpolation is used in engineering. This is used with contour maps. Okay? Half of half of half of half. In other words, you find the middle. And you only have to do it 5 or 6 times when we're doing box plot. And the reason you can't use the standard number line is you don't know what your low and high number is. If your low number, if you use a standard number line, it goes from 0 to 10 on the right and 0 to 10 on the left, negatives, then what it starts at 100. 100 to 300. You gotta do it, it's kind of like, as you look at the problem, you gotta make the range, the number line. But not right now, this is for box plot. And when you see something that says plot, we're gonna do box plots. Later, I don't know, maybe tomorrow, maybe Monday, I don't know, but we're gonna do it. It's not right now in this mess. All right, so range, mid-range, and now the two that some people have never seen. Variance and standard deviation. I'm going to tell you, I've already told you that this one's most important. Now, the formula for this looks very intimidating, but it's not really. It is the summation of x minus x bar, quantity squared, over n minus 1.
Let's do that one, that sheet.
I'll show you. They should have both of them written down. I don't even know if standard deviation is in 13.4, maybe in 13.5. Let's see where it is. Measures central, that's the middle. Here's summation, that's x bar. Mode, we've already talked about that. Mid-range.
Do you eat a lot of lettuce?
It's not where this stuff goes on it. They've already ruled that out. I'm telling y'all, they've ruled out everything.
Didn't you go on a deployment when you was in the Marines?
What'd you say?
Didn't you go on a deployment?
Yeah.
That's probably what it's from.
Oh yeah, just blame it. Yeah. Just get all kind of money. Yeah. That's what I need to do.
Uh-huh.
That way I don't have to work. Yeah, I'll just say that. I got it in Saudi.
I'm just saying.
It could be.
I've been there.
There's some funky stuff over there, but the U.S. is terrible. So, okay, I can't find it. I don't know where it is, but anyway, it's the summation of x minus x bar. Now, the difference between the two is, let me see how I do this. Standard deviation. Just type it in.
I had a bag of chips.
What?
I said I was hungry.
Ugh. I think, is this a rule right here? I'm looking to see if it's going to give us a rule. There it is. There we go. That's it. Now, it looks all, and that's the standard deviation. the difference between the two, and that's what I was getting at when I went to show you this. This is on page 811. Is the difference between these two what's the difference between them?
One's the square root of the 8.
Exactly. The square root of the variance is equal to the what? Standard deviation.
Oh, yeah.
So really, these two are the same what? Formula. You just take the square root of this guy and you got this guy. So you need to make that distinction because I really don't care about the variance. If I ask you a question about the variance, it's because they've already written it. But all I care about you learning is the mean and the standard deviation. Because that's important, especially if you go into 120 in the future. So take your handy dandy highlighter and highlight this right here in your notes because that's the only difference between the two. If you want to find the variance and you're given the standard deviation, you just square it. If you want to take, if you're given the variance and you want a standard deviation, you take the square root of it. It's the opposite. So if I'm given the standard deviation and I want this guy, I just square it. So I take the standard deviation and I square it, and that will give me the variance. If I'm going this way, just take the square root of the variance, and it'll give you the standard deviation. Now, doing this is a whole lot more detailed than you think. All right? Because you have to do all of this stuff out to the side, and then you plug it in, and then you do the math. So we've got this is x minus, sorry, x bar. X minus x bar. What did I tell you x was?
I mean,
It's each one of those little numbers, right? 9, 9, 13, 13, 13. Each one of them is x. And what's x bar?
your
Mean. So what did I got to do with each one of those x's? Subtract the mean from it. So that's another reason I use the Excel spreadsheet, is because it's a whole lot less, it's more organized than writing all over the board. See, I told you, it's intimidating. She's intimidated. She's leaving. So watch. This is x minus x bar. And I'm going to take the 9, and I'm going to subtract the average, which is 13. Now, when I do that, if you're an Excel user, if you're going to use the Excel spreadsheet, when you do that, you got to hit F4. What does F4 do?
Subtract it.
F4 locks it. Let me show you why you got to do it.